Yeah.
But at the same time, like we say, I need to overlook that. We need to overlook
Yeah.
that and just be like.
And in the background information that people don't know about, there was individuals that were on the panel texting me saying, "Oh, I appreciate the way you delivered it. You know, I had heard about more science before, but the way you delivered it was different. Now I see how this works now." Because I'm not coming from a, why is everyone on this panel saying black, you're all sellouts? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm sitting next to you. I'm sitting next to you, and now my energy is forcing you to either challenge me, which there was someone on the panel who they were throwing subliminals all before the panel started, but then when it was time to sit next to me or sitting around me, none of that energy wasn't even there. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of energy we need to be bringing. Peace. With the knowledge of, if it's up, then it's up, but you don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. You know, so let's keep it civil. Let's keep it knowledge based and solution based. And once you set that standard, it becomes a lot difficult for these opportunists to come around and be around and just say and do whatever they want, because then they really get exposed.
Well, yeah, I know there's the agent provocateurs. They're just looking for those type of energy,
Yeah.
to be stuff. You know, and to go back to something you said about NOI having helping guys stop being in the streets or gangbanging.
Mm-hmm.
Me myself, like I don't know my story. Like I was serving a life sentence. I came out after my appeal. You know what I mean? Like I actually went for murder that happened when I was younger. I got to an altercation, somebody got stabbed, and the person died.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting convicted, sentenced to life, you know. But one of the guys that I went to high school with after I won my appeal, he's the one that kind of brought me into the light, to the more science, you know. Yasun and Kujo, they're cousins.
Wow.
So for me personally, I know there's other Moors within our temple who has that background as myself, where it's like if it wasn't for the information, they'd still be doing certain things that they were doing.
More of what you just said needs to be at the forefront of more science, as opposed to just we have the right to travel.
I published a book. I do my thing. I do my thing out here to let it know. My testimony is there. You know what I mean? My testimony is there.
No, I understand that, but my point is more energy should be driven behind actual success stories, as opposed to, oh, we have the right to travel. Okay, and then what happens when you get stopped? Because then now we got to talk about a whole different thing. But something as beautiful and simple as that can impact so many more lives than just talking about the right to travel.
Definitely. And then when you can touch people, like when you're truly resonant with people, we become a fabric of this society.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of the community.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what you just said now, where the power in numbers. So it doesn't matter if I say I'm more or whatnot. The fact that these people gravitate towards this as a value to the community.
Yeah.
If anything happens, they're gonna want to come forward. So just based off of my testimony and my story. So our temple is quite a few more that are like this.
Yeah.
And I implore the Moors to other Moors who have this background to put that in the forefront.
Yeah. Because we need you. We need you. Because I'm not a street dude at all. But a lot of the street dudes in jail was respecting what I was saying just because I was being myself. And I was offering them information that could help them. So now imagine someone who has a similar background as them, they would be way more impactful than I could ever be. So everyone has a shared responsibility in this. Not just you and me. Everybody who has a story has a responsibility in this. And that's nationality.
Definitely. Prior to the incident that happened on 995, how often did you go camping with the Moors to train?
I don't know. I know we did at least 2 or 3 videos of us actually in the field, but how many times we've actually done it or how often I couldn't really say. But that wasn't the first time we were training. And there was actually an incident that we did here in Pawtucket where At the time, because they recently changed the law, I think. At the time, you were just able to, so you didn't need a license to openly carry a long arm, which would be a rifle or a shotgun or a sniper rifle, right? You didn't need a license to do that. And you could carry openly loaded. These were the laws here in so-called Rhode Island. And you didn't need a license to purchase it. All you had to do was pass a state and federal background check, and then you can buy as many firearms as you wanted. So knowing the law, reading the law first, I had contacted the Pawtucket police and I said, hey, my name is Jamal, I'm in charge of a militia. This is what we're going to be doing. This is how we're dressed. These are the streets we're going to be on.
Recorded that, didn't you?
Yeah, that was recorded, and we went live on Instagram.
I think I seen that.
Yeah, yep, we recorded that, posted that, we went live on Instagram, and we recorded some of the training, and we recorded how several times the Pawtucket police drove around us, and they didn't do anything because we weren't breaking the law. So
remember the photos?
yeah,
Or the paparazzi?
so we definitely, that is within our constitutional right to do so. So there it is.
Yeah. Why do we have the right to bear arms without the practice of pertaining to Second Amendment?
So now going to jurisprudence, because there's all of our rights, all of our sovereignty, which includes our rights, is derived from the great universal creator of everything. We say Allah. Everything in nature has the natural right to defend itself. If you look up any Supreme Court case, including the newest one from the United States Supreme Court dealing with the New York Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin, you'll see that, and especially with this decision in 2008, I think it was the Heller decision, the Heller Court. The United States Supreme Court has ruled that the Second Amendment is a pre-existing right. It's just codified in the Constitution, which means the right would exist without it being written down in the Constitution. The Constitution itself just limits exactly. It's a natural pre-existing right. Exactly, pre-existing, which is a birthright. You have the birthright to defend yourself from anything and everything. All it says is that the government can't deprive people of that right, and they can't infringe upon that right. So it's just to protect the people's rights. That's all it's for. But they're violating the people's right because the people don't know their right. So that's essentially the Second Amendment without going into too much detail. But I do go into detail on my website. I explain it in a little more detail on my website.
Yeah.
With actual case law from several cases. It's not just my personal opinion.
You spoke when during your incarceration early on in those phone calls.
Yeah.
You spoke of Miller versus Butler. Why is that case law so important?
I mean, it's very important because the federal court themselves say for the past 20 years, the judicial thinking about the Second Amendment was wrong. That statement in itself is powerful. That means judges are wrong, and they've been wrong. And in that being wrong, hundreds of thousands of people were sent to prison in violation of their rights. That means human beings are suffering unconstitutionally. And it goes into it's a very thorough analysis of a lot of aspects of the Second Amendment, from the 10-round limit. They refer to standard round magazines, 30-round magazines, as high capacity when they're standard. They're not high, they're standard. They talk about the media and the mass shootings, how what the media is saying about mass shootings and what the statistical data says are conflicting. And the courts even say that I would understand how people are emotionally swayed by the media, although this is what the real information is, right? It even talks about the firearms ban of the federal government and how that did not lower gun violence in the country. So now if an outright ban didn't limit the violence, then the licensing of it wouldn't limit the violence. Because if you say you can't even have it and the violence is the same, well then licensing it doesn't actually mean anything either, right? And there's no statistical data that proves that licensing. It's just bullcrap. It's bullcrap. And then the Supreme Court decision that they're using to justify the licensing of firearms isn't even anywhere related to the historical analysis of the Second Amendment, which the Bruin Court said that the courts are supposed to have regarding that. So, and it even brings up the Miller versus Bonta case, brings up a retired Army general who notes the importance of a citizens militia as opposed to the Army, Navy, National Guard, etc. And it's just absolutely related to everything Second Amendment that's going on across this country. And that's one of the courts that's actually pro Second Amendment and to my knowledge not placating like all these other, like a lot of other courts, because there's an actual internal strife amongst the federal courts of the Second Amendment, just like back then when they were ruling that it's an individual right, and the courts are saying it's not, but it actually is. So it's very important, very important. So is Young versus Hawaii, which is what I was saying, July 3rd, 2021, and the United States Supreme Court in the Bruen case references that case in deciding that the Massachusetts statute, along with the New York statute, was unconstitutional, which is exactly what I was saying before the decision of the United States Supreme Court.
After the incident happened, there's some Moors that were speaking out against it, and they're saying against the rights of Moors in regards to they think that the law doesn't apply to them, which is not the case, because I've heard you speak very clearly about where you're standing on that.
Yeah.
There's a misconception that Moors think that law is going to apply to them. Can you please clear that up again?
Color of law does not apply to anybody, including Moors. Unconstitutional laws do not apply to anybody, including Moors. So we're arguing that certain laws are unconstitutional, and then in saying that and proving it, as opposed to logically defending the constitutionality of those statutes, is called a personal attack. They're saying, well, you think the laws don't apply to you. That's not what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And that's literally a psychological attack. It's a psyop. As opposed to defending your position with facts and knowledge, you're going to use an emotional attack. Well, he's this. That has nothing to do with the argument. And an example of that is in Miller versus Bonta, where the federal courts of the Ninth Circuit, I believe, stated for the record that for 20 entire years, most judicial thinking about the Second Amendment was wrong because it infringed on the Constitution. So when we say certain statutes or certain laws infringe on the Constitution, we're saying since it infringes on the Constitution, which is case law to support this, an unconstitutional law or statute is void ab initio, which means it doesn't apply to me. Just like it doesn't apply to you. Just like a judge can't enforce it. That's all we're saying. We're not saying if I commit murder, then you can't convict me. If I committed a crime, then I committed a crime. But if there's no crime, if I'm exercising a constitutional right and you're converting it into a crime, you're wrong. But yeah, but that takes logic, and most of our people have not been taught on how to think logically. We're taught on how to think emotionally. Well, I feel like it's wrong because people are doing bad things with it. Well, what about all the people that are doing good things with it? Which in the Miller versus Bonta case, there's copious amounts of case law showing how AR-15 type rifles have been used to defend pregnant women, children, innocent lives. But they won't talk about that in the news. They'll talk about the mass murdering of children. But how often does that happen as compared to people defending themselves with it?
The assault rifle is the standard weapon all over the world.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
That's the standard weapon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's little children that have it.
And
There's old men that have it. Like, all over the world, different parts of the world.
I want to read this real fast. This is on my website. I put so much information on the Second Amendment on my website. And this is what the federal courts has to say about the Second Amendment. Let me find it real fast. All right, so this is United States versus Jimenez-Shalom. This is from May 23rd, 2022. It says, the Second Amendment seems to codify this principle in Heller. It was understood across the political spectrum that the right to keep and bear arms helped to secure the ideal of a citizen militia, which might be necessary to oppose an oppressive military force if the constitutional order broke down. So that's if the states became tyrannical and they used the Army, Navy, Marines, National Guard to oppress the people, then it would be the citizens who possess arms to rebel against that, right? Then it says, at the same time, it helped to secure the citizen's right to self-defense when his government was unable or unwilling to protect him from private lawlessness. Then, right under that, I put several federal court cases have already decided that the federal, state, and local, which is municipal, county, city, and town police or governments, have no duty to protect you. So the federal courts are saying, which based on the United States Supreme Court, that the Second Amendment right exists so that way you can defend yourself if your government is unable or unwilling to protect you. Now I'm showing you how the federal courts, including the United States Supreme Court, have already said their job is not to protect you, right? This is Munger versus City of Glasgow Police. A police officer generally has no duty to protect a particular individual. Tyler versus Felon. So versus Bay Area Transit. United States, U.S. District Court, Lexus. Hernandez versus City of San Jose. The police have no duty to protect individuals from private wrongdoers. White versus Dutchford. There's no general duty to provide police protection to the general public. And United States versus Duguay. The state owes no legal duty to protect things outside its custody from private injury. So now you have that, you have to protect yourself because no one else is going to do it.
Yeah. So for example, one of the incident that happened the other day, I can't remember if these peace officers, these highwaymen were chasing somebody and the person jumped in the water off the bridge.
Yeah.
And they just stood there and watched the person drown.
Yeah. Because that's not their job.
Yeah, like, so basically what Jamal is saying is you need to be able to enforce the Second Amendment organically, just like any animal that has, like a lion has his jaw, his teeth, you know what I mean?
I actually wrote that in Emotion. That's crazy.
Trying to defend a lion that's trying to defend itself with a broken jaw is defenseless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not knowing anything about law and not being able to enforce the Second Amendment is just like that lion.
Yeah.
With a broken jaw. You're defenseless.
Or if you have the teeth, you can't use your teeth without permission, which is a licensed permission from the zebra. What? And this is what I said this in court. I'm going to try to get this transcript. I was speaking to, I forgot the judge's name, or magistrate's name. I said, if you're attacking me, and I can't defend myself without your permission, what is that? That's unconstitutional. And I said it in the court. And this isn't my personal belief. This has been argued even in the Federalist Papers before the Constitution was even adopted, that the Second Amendment exists to oppose tyrannical government, which is exactly what I read from that federal case. And that's when I addressed the judge and said, if you are attacking me, if you are oppressing me, and I can't defend myself without your permission, that's unconstitutional. And then there was crickets in the courtroom.
Oh my God. Were the guys receptive?
Say it again?
You were incarcerated? No, I said, were the guys receptive with the information you had?
Absolutely.
In jail?
So in the letter that I wrote to Cujo, I spoke highly on Lucha because we were in D-Pod together. And he had been there. I had to do an extra week in quarantine, which sucked. It was 23-hour lockdown. They fed you through the tray door. So when you got out, it was only 30 minutes, and you had to choose either shower or talk to your loved ones. And each phone call was only 10 minutes long, and then you had to redial. So, that was rough. I was about to go on a hunger food strike, and then they let me out. So by the time I got to...
That's powerful. Hunger strikes are powerful.
Yeah, they don't like that.
That's a powerful thing to do.
They don't like that.
While you're incarcerated.
Before I even got to Bill Ricca, they knew we were all vegan. They knew so much information about us before we even got there. Anyway, so when I got to D-Pod, Lucha had already been... Because Lucha speaks like 4 different languages. And he's been to Jamaica, and a lot of the brothers that was locked up with us were from Jamaica, or they were from Haiti or something like that, or they were so-called Spanish, which is also from the islands, or they were just regular quote-unquote black people. And he would just give them information. So by the time I got there, I really didn't have to talk or do much. I was just writing down civic lessons because we're all in jail, so we need information that's going to help us. So at a certain point in time, literally all the Asiatics was coming to my cell, and I would walk around the unit just talking about the Constitution, and I had written them some stuff like on the right to speedy trial, because brothers will be in there 4, 5, 6 years on craziness, not even having a trial yet. And the attorneys would only call them the day before trial. They wouldn't pick up their phone calls. So I started writing down things that they need to say to their attorney, talking about the right to speedy trial, the Rule 36, the right to face your accuser, things like that, because a lot of our brothers are going through these cases and the prosecution really can't sustain this burden of proof at trial. So what they're doing is they're doing prolonged pretrial detention to force our people to be more willing to accept a deal, which is exactly what's happening. So when I give our brothers this information and they would speak to their attorney with just a few sentences that I told them, their attorneys would immediately start acting different and behaving different. So the street dudes that I don't know, they use this information, they see the results, so they tell the other street dudes. And now they all know, like, this is how you can begin to help yourself. So then all the brothers started coming to my cell thanks to Lucha, because Lucha laid down the groundwork. And then after that, they kicked us off the unit because they said we were trying to recruit people into our organization, which we were not doing. We were just giving basic civic lessons to people that needed it the most. And we were punished for it. They even kicked Lucha out of the jail. They sent him to a completely different jail.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your daughter for a sec. How was that? And before you even say I know you're spending that year away from her.
Yeah.
But before you even talk about her, I want to talk about her name, Amara. I want to tell you the little story.
Yeah.
So, before I got incarcerated, I had my first child, Tatiana.
Yeah.
She's 21 now. So I had one child out of with another woman. So now, my present person I'm with now, we have 3 children. Mm-hmm. And I came out in 2010, and then around 2013, I split my firstborn my secondborn was born in Morocco. But prior to him, when she was pregnant, we didn't want to know what it was going to be. So we had a couple of names. Mm-hmm. So one of the girls' name that we had was Amora. Yeah. And like, it's crazy. And you know what, too? You're 417, she's 420.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it gets deeper. So one day, one of my friends had a baby. She had a daughter. Mm-hmm. But we ended up having a boy, right? So we didn't use the name. So we were like, okay, next time we have that name put down. Yeah. I don't know how this friend of ours, this name popped in her head, but she had a daughter and named her Amora. Yeah. I remember, like my interest was so hurt about it. I was like, no, how did you get that name? I don't know if she talked about somebody, I don't know. That's just a mystery, but it's just so funny that was the name. And then I just recently had my third child.
Wow, congratulations.
Last pandemic, we had a girl. Mm-hmm. But, we didn't use the name Amora. That's come up with something because somebody already used that name. Yeah, that's amazing. That year you spent away from your daughter, because I know, for me personally, my daughter was a year and a half when I got incarcerated. I was incarcerated for almost 8 years. You know what I'm saying? So, I know that year away was hard. Yeah. I cried probably about 3 times in jail. And all 3 of the times were about missing my daughter. Not the circumstances I was in, not the fact that they could have murdered me, nothing. It was not being there to provide for my family, especially my daughter. Because I actually want to be in my daughter's life. And just not being able to do that hurt me. The meeting ended. He's going to send the link again.
Oh, okay.
Because Zoom only has like 45 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
What do you like on?
Instagram.
Oh.
Baby's taking a nap. She let me do her hair. And then I showed her in the mirror and she was all touching her little bubbles.
She liked it.
Yeah. And then she started rubbing her eyes, so.
I do that when I'm tired. I didn't realize that until seeing her do it and then realized I did.
What is his handle? Because I'm not sure if I spelled it right in the pin. I don't know if it's 27 podcast or 27th podcast.
27th letters podcast.
Oh. I'll change it.
I mean, you just edit it later.
Yeah, no, it was just a comment that I tagged him on, like a pinned comment, but, you know.
I don't know if his phone died or if it just ended. I think it just said it ended. That's not good.
Should I end this and just pick it back up in
So
a few
you-
minutes?
I'm just letting him know that I'm ready whenever he is.
Okay, I'll keep it on then.
I don't know what's going on. So.
Yeah.
Let me check these messages. People's messaging me the whole time. I don't know why. How's Rashad?
You said 27
27th
letters?
Letters Podcast.
Thank you.
Alright, there we go. I sent it. Excuse me.
We got caught up talking.
Yeah.
Recording in progress.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So let's get back to so you said 3 times you cried, eh?
Yeah, yep. Laying in the cell on the hard ass bed, and the thing that really made me cry was thinking about my daughter, because that's just a relationship I've never had with anybody. You get what I'm saying? Like, I've never been a father before, so you know, it's the type of connection that I can't even begin to explain. You know, I remember me and my wife and I were talking about her, and I said, you know, I guess she was kind of wondering like why I wasn't as excited as she was when she was in the womb, and I had to explain, well, you're physically attached to her, so you're gonna automatically have that connection before I do. I'm gonna be more excited when I can actually hold her. I can't hold her or feel her. I'm not connected like you are. And then I literally, you know, we had her at home. Well, my wife did all the work, obviously, but you know, I helped with the hot water and stuff like that, and I helped hold one of her legs up. We had her in one of the rooms upstairs in our house, and you know, when I got to hold her, I would just cry. I was crying and just saying, you know, you're so perfect, because I mean, the process of creation is perfect. You know, that's why we're perfected man. We're not perfect human beings, but we're perfected man. You know, our physical flesh is perfect for us. And you know, that's where her middle name came from, Camila, which means perfect in Arabic. And you know, I was just holding her crying. My wife has a picture of it. I was just holding her crying, like, just man, it was so amazing. Like, there's no I feel like I'm about to cry right now. There's no connection.
No, sorry to cut you off. The word that was told to me way back when I had my first child is that you go through a metamorphosis.
Yeah.
You go through a metamorphosis when you have this children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that experience like no other.
Yeah. So I literally got to see her come out face to face. I was literally holding my wife's leg up, like, oh wow, her head is right there. You know, and then
Giving me the play-by-play.
yeah, I was informing her of everything that was going on. And you know, we left the placenta on her until it dried up naturally and broke off, and then we had to cut it off. And you know, she was breastfed, and she's she's just been so advanced. As soon as she came out, she was lifting her head up, looking around. Like, how do you get the strength to do that?
You know, they said this newborn being born with their eyes open.
Yeah, her eyes were wide open. Yeah.
They were wide open.
Yeah.
My second son, my second born,
Yeah.
my first son, Morocco is the same way.
Yeah.
Eyes open.
Yeah.
Eyes open. As soon as it came out, eyes open.
Yeah. And she's been advanced with everything since she's been born. You know, and this is my first child that has made it, because my wife and I had lost a child, not by choice. It was a miscarriage, although the medical term for it is abortion, but it was a natural miscarriage. That was really painful. And then before that, I had gotten 2 other women pregnant, and they both had medical abortions, so they just got rid of it.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I had bad experiences with that. You know, there was even a point in time where, you know, I remember crying to my mom, like, yo, why is it that none of these women think I'm worthy enough to be a father? You know, crying to my mother saying this. So now that I have a daughter, you know.
Allah is the best plan of my life.
Yeah, I know. I know. Because my wife, and I told my wife this, I chose, part of the reason why I chose you is because I knew you were going to be a great mother. And she's absolutely perfect. Although she doesn't, you know, none of us are perfect, but the amount of effort, time, and focus that she puts into our daughter is the type of women I've come across, they wouldn't have done that. You know, not saying all women are terrible, but just the type of women I was choosing, which was the wrong type, they wouldn't have been as willing to do what she's doing to the scale that she's doing it, to the degree that she's doing it.
I love you. I love your story. It's a story. I love it. I love it. And like I said, she has the utmost respect for me.
Yeah.
I remember when you were just about to come out, she got a little stressed out because they moved you from one jail to the next over some nonsense. And so I DM'd her. I'm like, listen, this is what they do. Because me, I've had my little since I've been out from the life sentence.
Yeah.
When I got a motorcycle, travel without a quote unquote their license, I get into this situations, you know what I mean? Where I have to go for court and so on and so forth. So I know there are times where once you lay down the law, for the factor is always looking for a way to squirm its way out.
Yeah.
Like on a backdoor tip. Like they just want to squirm their way out of the situation.
Yeah. And save face.
Once they start squirming their way out, and they know they're going to squirm their way out, they do little nonsense just to agitate you, knowing that the end is near.
Yeah.
So that's what I saw them when we were moving you.
Yeah. Like
that whatever the police they moved you to that place or
it was for nonsense. It was like a speeding ticket or something like that. Yeah. And then when I got there, they held me not responsible.
It's nonsense. So I told them, like, these are the signs from my experience where I always come up for sure.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Just relax. Don't get upset. Don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just get out of character. He's coming on for sure.
Yeah.
So,
No, and then the other one.
But salute to the Empress again. I can't say it enough.
Thank you.
What would you like to teach your daughter?
Everything. I was writing her lessons on marriage while I was in jail. Before she was born, I was buying her books on money, math, and science.
You have you typed.
Those are my intentions for my daughter.
You typed 3 lesson plans.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
her.
The lessons plans that I have available for Morris, I wrote those for my daughter.
No Barbie dolls?
Nah.
No.
No. I did. I mean, she has stuffed animals that other relatives have gotten her, but I got her
2 baby dolls,
books on science, and then I got her this easel so that way she can draw and practice her creative side. That's my focus, and then my wife does all the other important stuff.
If you could send a message to your younger self, what would you say?
I don't know. That's something I'd have to think about for a few days and then get back to you on that because I feel like most of the choices I made, and of course I made bad choices and mistakes, but they weren't grievous mistakes or choices. You know, I wasn't out there robbing people and being crazy. You know, no, I know. So it's very hard to say because I feel like I've always just, to the best of my ability, been the person that's striving to seek the truth and knowledge no matter what. And I was actually talking to my mom and my wife about this the other day. Like, I've always been the person to stand up for the underdog, even when I was younger. I was in I think it was the 3rd grade or something like that. And one of my best friends, his name was Travis. He was a little slow, and his locker was next to mine. And then these bullies came from, and this is from Oliver Hazard Perry elementary school or middle school. I think it's elementary school, something like that. Whatever the 3rd grade is in. They had came across from the other side of the school, which it was always split in half. We stayed on our side, they stayed on their side. But they came over to our side for some reason. And they said, I had on the new Jordans or whatever it was. They said, Jamal, clean my shoes. And I said, well, I didn't dirty your shoes, so I'm not going to clean them. And that was it. To me, because to me it's logical. Like, I didn't dirty them. If I did dirty them, then I would wipe them off, no problem. But I didn't dirty them, so I'm not cleaning them. So then, my friend, Travis, he was a little slow. They told him to do it. And he did it immediately. So I grabbed him by his arm, and I said, you don't have to do that. You didn't dirty them. So then the 3 of them was about to bully, like literally physically assault me. And then the bell rang. So I was literally saved by the bell. And then I remember when I went from elementary school to middle school, and they got rid of recess, I looked at the clock, and I remember seeing the way the arms were, and I said, excuse me, miss, it's time for recess. And then she said, well, Jamal, you're in the higher grade now, we got rid of recess. So I stood up in front of everybody, and I said, y'all just gonna sit down and accept this? Like, they're taking away our recess. So so yeah, so I've always, yeah, so it's just been, I guess, in my DNA, and then learning that my grandfather's a Black Panther and stuff like that. It's just always been in my DNA. It's just, I wouldn't take charge. Yeah, I just wouldn't have had the perspective that I had now if I didn't make those choices. So I can't really say. Huh? I
was saying, and your uncle who's been a Moor for 40 years.
Yeah, so I can't really say what I would tell myself. I guess I wish I would have been able to process my emotions better and be able to communicate better, as opposed to just getting angry to the point where I don't want to hurt anyone, so I'm going to shut down, as opposed to doing that.
And then that's what the drinking, that's the self.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Not knowing how to fully process the feelings. If I was able to do that, I think I would have been, earlier and sooner. And of course, if I knew more science sooner, I think I would have been, probably would have been further. But who knows, I don't know. Because what if I didn't join the military and didn't have, that extra build of confidence that I have now? Who's to say that I would have been, the me that I am right now? So it's very, very hard to say.
Yep. Allah is the best plan, and that's the last. Yeah. Spiritually and mentally, how did that year of incarceration have an effect on you?
It forced me to reflect on myself a lot more. And I think it forced me to acknowledge the qualities of myself that were good, that I would try to reject for the sake of trying to be humble, but I really wasn't being humble. I was just not acknowledging the great qualities of who I am. You get what I'm saying? If that makes sense. So it definitely brought me closer into the religion, as far as truly understanding the science of religion, and how Allah truly does control everything. It doesn't matter how much effort you put in, you still have to wait, because Allah has
surrender.
Yeah.
That's one thing I had to learn in prison. I had to learn to surrender.
Yeah, which is hard. Which is what Islam is about. Submitting your will to the best of your ability to the will of Allah, which will mean going through uncomfortable situations that you just have to go through. And I feel like it made me focus a lot more on more important stuff. I feel like I'm more focused on my family, although I could be a little more hands-on, but things outside of my family now, it doesn't really affect me like it used to. And now I'm focused more on Rise of the Moors, because, there was times where I was part of the consulate before, and look at what happened with them. I was part of the Constitutional Convention, look at what happened with that. But I haven't put the amount of energy and dedication I put into those things, I haven't really put into organizing and strengthening Rise of the Moors, and that's what I'm trying to do now based on those experiences. So yeah, that's how it's
coming out of prison, coming out of prison, I always say to myself, for one of the key factors in me not failing is just being about my family's business.
Yeah.
And I feel like once I take care of my family business, only solely that, I'm focused on that, I'm good. I'll be guided and protected in the most divine way.
Yeah.
You know? So, and that's what I've done. You know, just focus on my family. That's it. That's all I do is family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Outside of the Morris movement, it's family, and but that's which is even within
Extended
the
family, yeah.
anyways, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, this is my last question. So, what's next? Do you plan to publish more books? I think you mentioned that, and where can we get your literature?
So while I was in jail, I realized that I have to do more of studying our history and then just publishing more books, because that's what's really important. Our history is important. And the fact that we don't know it is why we're in the situation that we're in. And then having something for my children, they need to be able to find a concise, condensed version of our history, so that way when they're doing additional research, they already have the foundation that they need to fully understand, the different aspects of our history. So I definitely intend on writing more books, but how and the way they happen, that has never really been up to me. It's been up to whatever type of inspiration Allah will send to me. Not saying that I'm any different from anybody else, because Allah inspires whom He wills the way He wills. So definitely writing more books, and just striving to balance everything as far as my mental health, my spiritual health. Like I've been going through, I have a schedule for myself, and I feel like just trying to stick to that schedule is becoming difficult. But it's only becoming difficult because of my mindset. You know what I'm saying? So having to battle with my higher self and lower self on a daily basis, and then having to maintain a relationship with my wife, and then building a relationship with my daughter, and trying to keep the relationships
It's a
that
balance. It's a fine
just trying to
balance.
balance everything. that's really it, and no longer taking on responsibility that's not mine. So
Yeah.
like
Stuff that's out of your control.
yeah, and just making stuff my responsibility that's not my responsibility. Like I in jail, I was like, dang, I was striving to do so much for Moors, when it's not my job to guide Moors. I just present information and that's it. And I found that in the Quran. It says, when Allah was talking to Prophet Muhammad, that I know, and I'm paraphrasing, Allah was talking to Muhammad saying, I know that this weighs heavy on your heart because you want people to know the truth and you want people to be rightly guided. I know that. But that's not your job. Your job is not to guide. Your job is to just relay the message, and then that's it. I'll do the rest.
Yeah, I think.
And I didn't have that perspective. I was just trying to carry the nation on my back when that's not my job. My job is to carry my family on my back.
I think a lot of Moors go through that phase where they're like, okay, I got this information and I gotta go see.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah.
No. You're gonna get yourself a splitted headache, kind of.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So stay within your own lane, do you, and that's it. We're all raindrops in this ocean of information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just need to just do what we do.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We've been doing what we do even before the information is how we got here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So, Allah continues to guide us, what about your literature? Where do we get them?
All my books are available at riseofthemoors.org. There's a tab on there that says books and other literature, and you can just get the books. And before they deleted my YouTube and Instagram, everything that was in the books I would present for free throughout my lectures. So because I didn't come up with any of this information. It's been cross-referenced through various books. All I did was compile it into one book, so that way you wouldn't have to read 10 books. Here's the one that in a way represents those 10. So now I did, yeah. So that's what the purpose of the book's for. But throughout the lectures, I would just give you what's in the books. Maybe in a little, maybe sometimes in more detail, sometimes in less detail, because Prophet Noble Drawley said, if I give you everything, you go back to sleep. So I try not to give everything in the books, because the books are just to try to encourage more research into the topic that I'm addressing, because I don't have all the answers. This is just what I found, cross-reference it, prove it wrong, and find more information to either disprove it or to support it. And that's the standard that we need to be setting as scientists, which is why Noble Drawley named it the Moorish Science Temple of America, because scientists, a doctor will publish their dissertation or publish their report on a specific or specific subject matter, and then other doctors will criticize that with another report, not go online saying, well, that scientist is wrong and that scientist is dirty because of this, and this. No, they'll just write a book report or write another report on the same science, with either showing different results or showing the same results with the same scientific method. That's the type of standard we need to be setting as Moors, and that's why I write books.
That's what really a scientist is. It's like you do this and then
You publish the results.
They try a different way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everybody compares notes.
Yeah.
See what works best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's why Noble Drawley said active Moors and not passive Moors, because through our action is when we get the necessary perspective and or results that we need to say, okay, this is the best course of action. You know, and this is why I don't really have any regrets, because none of my actions hurt anybody. You know what I'm saying?
You shouldn't. While you were incarcerated, at the onset of it, I looked at my Empress. I'm like, if it wasn't for this imaginary order, you don't think I would be with these guys?
Yeah.
I would be right beside you, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you crazy? I'm like right there, bro.
Yeah.
You know? So I was really invested in the outcome of you. Man, you can go on my Instagram. I'm gonna send you the thing. I'm gonna send you the thing. When the day came out, I did a whole dance. Freedom dance, because it's like you getting out. I was just so.
And from a scientific point of view, right? From the science of what happened, Moors were saying, well, we'll say the other scientists were saying, if you bear arms, they're going to kill you in the street. If you bear arms, they're going to throw you in jail for the rest of your life. If you bear arms, they're going to send you to Guantanamo Bay. So now, other scientists conducted an experiment, which that wasn't our goal, but an experiment took place, and the results yielded and proved that everything that they were saying was not true.
And you know what? That is what a scientist is. Because sometimes you don't have a plan.
Yeah.
Something just happens, you're like, oh, eureka.
Yeah. Or you have a plan and it doesn't go according to plan. Because Allah has a greater plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what science, and I think that's the thing with even like being an animal on this plane is evolving and with each situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever it calls for, however you're going to survive it, evolve within that situation.
Yeah. With the information that's presented to you at the time. And then if new information is presented to you, then you change. You change according to the science. You don't make science change to you. Yeah.
Back to the drawing board.
And Prophet Noble Drawley said, in the Quran, paraphrasing that, the mastermind, the true teacher, treads the way. Show you that their footprints have been there. They don't just point. Scientists take action in whichever science they're dealing with, whether it be the science of nationality, the science of self-defense, the science of community building, the science of economics building, the science of family raising. You know, you don't take family advice from a single person with no children. It doesn't make sense. You know?
No, you don't. Experience is the best teacher.
Exactly. Because that's Allah. That Allah's putting you through that so that way you can learn. That's what it's for.
Yeah. Jamal, thank you so much. Again, salute to you on your journey. Salute to you. I would say for the sacrifice you made, you know, because I know being with your daughter is hard, but again, it was a plan. It's part of the grant.
And I'm home now, and I'm making up for all of that. I get to hold her and put her to sleep, and it's amazing.
Like for me, my oldest daughter, I wasn't there for all those years, right?
Yeah.
So now with this little girl, like it's just that much more real. Like I love obviously I love my two boys, but just not being there for my first daughter, but now having this experience with my daughter, my dynamic of these two daughters of mine. You know what I mean? Of the experiences that I have with both of them. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you, salute to you,
Thank you.
to your Empress. You know what I mean?
Islam.
Hey,
She can hear you.
I need to get my grills.
Yeah, tell him I said
need to get my
Islam.
grills. Like I want to put in my order for my grills now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I was telling my Empress, because my Empress, you know, she meets me, you know, as a different man, evolved and very, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not the same person I was before I went to prison.
Yeah.
You know, I was the black guy before, you know,
Yeah.
wearing Nikes, you know, looking fly.
Yeah.
All that. Now I do simple things.
Yeah.
So the other day, I'm like, yo, you know what? I'm thinking about getting girls for that. So I was watching, you know, get ready for your interview. So
Yeah.
I'm listening to your girls. I'm like, yo, you know what? Yo, I need to get get
Yeah.
some back. And I told her, she's laughing. I'm like, sure you don't know. That's why you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yo, I could still, you know what I mean?
Yeah, still get flossy and fresh. What you mean? And there's a hadith. There's a hadith from Prophet Muhammad that and I'm paraphrasing. It says that Allah loves to see His bounty on you. So why not? This old Aztec skulls with jewels in their mouth. This is our culture. Why not?
Sure.
If-
No,
if-
I had them.
you know?
I had them.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I had them.
Yeah.
I had them. That's what I'm saying. I had them. But you don't know that part of it.
Yeah.
When I got incarcerated, most of my pictures are lost. There's a few pictures she sees. But when I know,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I feel it. Trust me, you know?
Yeah. No.
I'm like, yo,
Allah loves to see us dressed well. Allah loves to see us flourishing. That's what He created us for.
For sure. Because we're a represented nation
Yeah.
of Allah. So
Mhm.
we gotta shine. Just like
And every other culture has their traditional dress, and they look, gorgeous for their culture, and they dress how they dress. Like we need to bring that back to more science. Let's bring back the grills. Let's bring back the turbans and the fez. Let's bring it back with the grills in. That's ours.
Oh man. Well, you know what? Hopefully everything works out with the whole
Yeah.
situation with these de facto mercenaries.
Yeah.
And then somewhere down the line we all gotta reunite, man.
Yeah.
I say reunite because it's already been divided. We already met many
Yeah.
times before in other lifetimes.
Yeah.
It's just now we just gotta reunite.
Well, so
You know what I mean?
what part of their strategy is to have a no contact order with certain people, but we just had another motion to join the cases. So if they get joined, which it seemed like they were going to get joined based on what the judge was saying, then that no contact order is going to be lifted, and then we can all begin to talk to each other again. So, and there's just a lot I can't say because you know what I mean, but inshallah soon.
You already know.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't even delve into it.
Yeah.
Actual thing. I just realized this is just all about your journey and so on
Yeah,
and so
appreciate
forth.
that.
But if anybody wants to know about, the incident that happened, you go online, do your own research, and see it all. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He ain't gonna speak on it right now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure down the line in a book, one of his books, you're gonna hear about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe
Down the
we'll
line.
see. Yeah, it's either gonna be in a book or in a video.
One day you're gonna write an autobiography. Because we're almost likened to the disciples, and each experience, our individual experience is a book within that Bible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what the Bible's about. Individual experiences. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yo, brother, appreciate you. Love
I appreciate.
you.
Yeah, I love you too. I
Brother,
appreciate
for me,
you.
Spiritually, I was just like, bro, just stay strong. And
Yeah.
you did everything right. Like, flying colors.
Yeah.
Never stress your Empress. Oh my God, safety.
Yeah.
The only thing I just sucked that you have to get away from your child that year, but again, it just makes it that much more better.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? When you hold her.
I'm glad. I'm glad that other people can see it. You know.
Oh, for sure. Oh, no, brother. Yeah. Remember Empress? Like, Empress was always watching her day, and she keep me updated. It's like, okay, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, we need to send some fiat. Okay, yo, we gotta send some fiat. Whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I
that's
appreciate
that's
that.
like, is he out yet? That's all I'm waiting for. Is he out yet?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's great to see you. And
Thank
thank
you.
you again. 27 Letters the podcast. Thank you so much for coming out tomorrow.
Thank you.
And salute to you in person. And see your daughter,
Islam.
your beautiful daughter. And enjoy your family.
Yeah.
And like I said, Allah is the best planet. It's the best planet. And, nothing is a coincidence. And your steps are guided and protected always.
Appreciate that.
So just keep moving what you're doing and keep your heart clean. I know. And none of these doubts. I have no doubt that
Yeah. Thank you.
want to continue this thing.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, God.
Appreciate you.
Peace.
Peace.
That was a great podcast.
Recording stopped.
This is still going. I don't know if you wanted to say anything to the people that are tuned in now, or if you'd like me to just end it.
Oh, well, I have to call Rashad because he was calling, and I have to pray too with Mr. Prayers.
Okay.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Love, peace, and chicken grease.
Islam.